that place. True happiness comes from this place. Poets and sages have been saying for all ages that truest happiness comes from the simplest things. The simplest things. The true joy of being is realized sometimes in the most unremarkable times and circumstances. Think about your own life right now. And think about the most joyous times you have ever had. And my guess is, from an objective standpoint, from someone looking in, it was a rather simple, unremarkable event. And yet it held more joy for you than maybe weeks or months before. The simplest things. The philosopher Nietzsche, in a rare moment of deep stillness, wrote this: "For happiness, how little suffices for happiness. The least thing precisely, the gentlest thing, the lightest thing, a lizard's rustling, a breath, a whisk, an eye glance. Little maketh up the best happiness. Be still." I read this, took my breath away. Especially when I got to a lizard's rustling. I've had that experience. I've had that experience. Being out in the southwestern desert by myself. Everything was very still. And all of a sudden, I heard first and then saw a lizard rustling. And that was it. That was everything I needed. It was complete. And why is it? What makes it that the least things create the best happiness? You see, it's because the happiness is not in the thing or the event. It's not in that. We're conditioned to believe that things make us happy. It is that which lies beneath the experience. If at any time of great joy or rapt attention, I don't mean in rapture, I mean rapt attention like watching Kira, that's rapt attention. Any time that you're there, do this. And just become aware of your focus, become aware of your attention. And then move one step deeper. One step deeper. And your soul will be touching the very source of who you are. The deepest inner space of who you are. The more space you create in your life, the more space you create between your thoughts, the more space you create between your emotions, the more space you create in your home with physical objects, the more peace, the more happiness, the more joy you will realize. Zen is the practice of reducing life to its most essential elements. In other words, creating space. A Zen master and his disciple was walking through a long mountain trail. And they walked and walked and walked for the longest time in silence. And they came to an ancient cedar tree, and they sat down beneath it to have a simple lunch of rice and vegetables. And they were completely in silence. But shortly after they finished their meal, the disciple broke the silence, asking, "Master, how do you enter Zen?" Because you see, this disciple had not yet learned the key to the mystery of Zen. And the Zen master sat there in silence for well over 5 minutes. The disciple was getting antsy. In fact, the disciple was just on the verge of asking another question when the Zen master spoke. And he said, "Do you hear the mountain stream?" The disciple hadn't heard any mountain stream. In fact, the only thing the disciple had been hearing was the noise of his mind trying to figure out the meaning of Zen. But as the disciple's mind quieted, he began to experience a heightened awareness. And though it took him a few minutes, suddenly he heard it quite softly, quite distantly, the gentle murmur of a far mountain stream. And he said, "Master, Master, I hear it. I hear the mountain stream." And the master raised his finger. And with a look that was both gentle and fierce, he said, "Enter Zen from there." Now, what if you had been the disciple? And what if your answer had been, "Master, I don't hear a mountain stream"? What do you think your master would say to you? Enter Zen.